Let me call to order the special city council meeting. We'll start with agenda item number 1, the roll call.
Blessum.
Here.
Fuller.
Here.
Janser.
Here,
Olson. Here. Pittner.
Here.
Samuelson.
Here.
please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. As we start this meeting, I want to make the public aware that this afternoon at about 1:30, I received a resignation from Mayor Tom Ross. And that is available for some, if you want it. I think it's probably been circulated to the media by now, but I just want to make sure that that's known to the public in case you weren't following the news updates on social media and so forth. Our first item of business is to receive the findings of the investigation final report. And I guess we will hear that from our acting human resources manager, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. On 28 January of this year, the city manager, myself, and the human resources director at the time, Lisa Junt, received a formal written complaint from our city attorney, Stephanie Stahlheim, alleging unlawful harassment, workplace harassment, and sexual harassment on behalf of then Mayor Ross towards her. So with that, over the next couple of days, city manager Harold Stewart and I met with Katie Schmidt, who we brought on legal counsel for this because the complainant was in fact our city attorney. Determine the way ahead. We made a decision to go out and find an external investigator to complete this investigation. That investigation, the last interview for a number of reasons was completed yesterday. The report was received this afternoon. We reviewed the report and then found that nothing in the report needed to be redacted, and then immediately got that report to council. And you should have the report, pages 12 and 13, I believe, of the report. The investigator did find that the allegations were substantiated. If you have any questions after your reading of the report, we can move forward.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion from the council? Mike?
Mr. President, I think there's a few discussion items that we'll want to have here today. We'll certainly want to hear from our attorney about some next steps and things like that. I just want to make sure, just a sort of a point of order to understand your intentions on how we go through that. Is this one discussion, or, right now I know we're accepting the report. Do you want a motion to accept the report?
I think that would be in order.
Okay, I'll make that motion to accept the report.
Second.
Okay, second by Alderman Pittner. Motion to accept the report. Any further discussion on that motion?
So I'll just add a little bit. The city's been through an awful lot. The city organization, city staff, just the people of our city have been through a lot. I look at the 9 months I've been on council, and it's been a lot of investigations and rough waters. And, in talking to other council members prior to that time, there's been some rough waters. This is unfortunately a little bit of a continuation of that across the board. And so while I am certainly glad that we're having this discussion after having the resignation already tendered, the path that we were on for this meeting wasn't particularly good. And there was other options that we had to look at that point. So, I'm glad that this brings hopefully a good, as good as can be expected conclusion, good meaning complete conclusion. Having been through the report, I'm glad that we were able to get unequivocal answers to what had happened and the outcome of that. So, I think I'm looking forward to moving on from here is what I'm looking forward to. So.
Okay. Any further discussion? Alderman Fuller.
Thank you. I'd written a statement, so I guess I want to read that. So Minot's more than just a place to me. This is my home. I was born and raised here. I spent 16 years away, but returned here 13 years ago to start and raise a family. Because of the deep, heartfelt love I have for our community, I have never, ever stopped calling Minot my home. I've never been embarrassed about Minot. It will always be a special place. Our city has always been the place where neighbors can truly know each other, and we build a true sense of belonging for everybody. I love Minot, and I always have. The well-being of our city, as Alderman Blessum said, has been on shaky ground more often than we care to admit over the last few years and months. We've been faced with challenges that most cities never have to endure. Today, I sit before you with a heart overcome by sadness and disappointment as we face yet another moment of poor leadership in our city's history. Leadership of our city is not merely a title, but a profound responsibility to serve with integrity and to make decisions that reflect the values and the needs of our community, always striving to unite and elevate those people we lead. Especially in times of hardship, true leadership is not about avoiding the storm. It's about guiding our city through it with unwavering resolve and transparency. Effective leaders possess the ability to inspire, uplift, and lead others, particularly during those challenging and uncertain times. They empower others with their voices, listen with humility, and make decisions rooted in integrity. We've needed that leadership in Minot, and as a city, we've been unable to find it. Minot deserves leaders who truly embody these principles, and I'll give Tom his acknowledgement of making the right decision and resigning. Over the past 6 months, Minot has faced enough challenges. Our city, our citizens, our friends, our employees, our neighbors can no longer take any more of this. One thing I have yet to hear, though, out of Tom in all of this is an apology. I believe you owe it to the city, the community, your fellow council members who are directly impacted by the decisions you have made, and most importantly, our city attorney, Steph. One other point I'd like to make to our city officials, moving forward, the practice of withholding information because of policy, failing to inform the council under the assumption that we don't need to know, or hiding behind the phrase on the advice of council will no longer be tolerated. If there is a policy that prevents the city from informing the council of such matters, bring it to us and we will change it. This is our city and we are the elected representatives of the people. There is a victim here who has waited far too long for any semblance of resolution to this. Matters of this importance should have been brought to the council's full attention immediately, not after a delay of 2 months. These issues could and should have been addressed in the days and weeks following the incident. The continued delays are unacceptable. And one other thing, Tom, whatever decision you made to decide or to avoid the investigator for 2 months, whether purposeful or accidental, I think speaks volumes of the type of leadership we've had in this city, and I believe we deserve better. Thanks.
Alderman Olson.
Thank you, Alderman Janser. Just briefly, and perhaps Attorney Schmidt is going to address this, but as we have gone through the report, near the end of the report, it did indicate the high level of stress that our employees have gone through, not only with this investigation, but with several others. And while we can't undo that, we can do better in the future. And sometimes our hands are tied by laws that are made by people above us. But I think that the message should be, and Attorney Schmidt said it very well in her report, that these people are serving the public, but they are still citizens. They have private lives. And all of this has to be brought out in a very embarrassing and personal manner. And I feel for them, and I wish that there was something that we could do differently for them. But I certainly want to acknowledge that many of our employees have gone through a lot, and I hope that we can make a difference for them going forward.
Further discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, or let's see, roll call.
Blessum.
Yes.
Buller.
Yes.
Janser.
Yes.
Olson. Pittner.
Yes.
Samuelson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. That brings us to item 3.2. Are there any additional things that we need to take care of? I maybe turn to the attorney for that guidance, if possible.
Sure, thank you. So now that the mayoral seat is vacant, the president of the commission will serve in that capacity to, sign checks or sort of do those sort of things. I believe there's a resolution that we maybe have to adopt just for those sort of purposes. To fill the mayor position, the council has some options. You can either decide to have a special election, or you can wait 15 days and then appoint someone to fill that role. Within the 15 days, you can receive a petition signed by citizens that you will have a special election. So it's you guys can choose to have one. You can have one based upon a petition, or you wait the 15 days and then select someone to fill that role.
Alderman Blessing.
So, Mr. President, do we have a resolution that we need to pass to
Correct.
give to authorize the council president? Is that correct?
Correct. And I don't know if you want Dave to speak on the resolution. We didn't have time to get it on the agenda prior to, but I believe it's just a resignation designating authority for signatures on bank accounts, because in our ordinance, the mayor has the authority to do so, but we need to still complete business and write checks. So.
Finance Director?
Mr. President, members of the council, that is correct. In our resolutions, our banking resolutions we've identified the folks authorized to sign on behalf of the city at the bank by their title, including the mayor's title. So since that seat will be now vacant until we move forward in replacing that position, we would request that President Janser be the authorized official on the banking, be able to sign checks in the meantime. So we do have resolutions. I thought they were going to be attached, but I can get you copies of that. It's very similar to the ones that we passed. It's actually the same resolution that we passed when we switched banking services here in January. We just changed the position and have it for approval.
Alderman Blessing.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. So a question for our attorney. When I look in Century Code in 400816, it says during the interim between a date when a vacancy occurs in the office of mayor and election and qualification of a successor, the president of the city council shall be the acting mayor. Does that mean that under the law, this is not necessary? To me, it's not a bad step to take, but does that imply that that's not necessary?
I think pursuant to ordinance, it's something that the city council has to adopt.
And Mr. President and Alderman Blessum, and that is correct. I think the ordinance refers to due to death or incapacitation of the mayor, the president of the council will assume those duties, but it doesn't necessarily say that they will assume the office of mayor. And because a resolution referred to the mayor, we thought rather than have an issue with the banks not liking the change of signature, we'd have the resolution approved, and we would be back here when we come to a final conclusion on what's going to happen with that seat. And we would most likely have an additional resolution then, again, to designate the mayor as the signatory on the accounts.
So, Mr. President, is it something where we should get copies and distribute them and get it approved right now?
I think that was the intent.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to look it over, I can pass it around. I have the one copy which for signatures today. I can probably email it.
Yeah, Michaela, if you could email it so that everybody could see it, that would be helpful probably, if folks have questions.
Mr. President, I would move the resolution as
Second.
presented.
Okay, moved and seconded to adopt the resolution. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Blessam?
Yes.
Fuller? Yes. Janser?
Yes.
Olson? Pittner?
Yes.
Samuelson?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any other? Alderman Olson.
Alderman Janser. A few questions for clarification that I'm sure that many people are going to be asking very soon related to filling the offices. Does the council have the authority within those 15 days to elect a mayor and open up a position for a council seat? Or will the mayoral seat be the open seat?
If the person who's filling the mayoral seat comes from the city council, if that person is the person that's appointed to that position, then their seat will be open. The alderman city council seat will be open.
Okay, thank you. And then just one other clarifying question. Is it within 15 days that decision must be made, or is it at that day 15?
It's after the 15 days, that petition to have a special election can be filed within 15 days. So you have to wait that 15 days before appointing someone to see if there is a special election that should be held.
Thank you.
So, Mr. President, if I may, and again, the council can have some discussion on this. I think it's important today to signal our intent to the public, for them to understand where we may be headed with that. And so with that in mind, my motion for the council to consider is that we signal our intent to the public that we will wait those 15 days and that we do intend to place someone from our ranks into the mayor's seat. And for me, just to explain that, so that's my motion if we want to get
I'll
a
second.
second. Okay, so we've got a second. So if I can continue, Mr. President.
Continue.
And my intent there is that we need continuity right now. We have a lot going on, both with city staff that's looking to us for leadership right now. We have our external partners at MAC EDC, with Task Force 21, with outside partners that are looking for leadership from this group, these 6 of us now, that are the elected representatives of the people. And so I would like to signal our intent to the public that we would elevate one of our ranks to the mayor's role, and that we would then take action on what we would do with the open council seat after that point. So that's my motion. I think it's a good discussion for us to have to at least help the public understand where we're coming from.
Okay. Further discussion? Alderman Samuelson.
So if I could get a clarification from our attorney, from what I read in Century Code, the mayor's position when it's up is to be appointed from one of us on council and not.
You can appoint the vacancy, whoever it is.
So it could be anyone from
Yes.
the city then?
Yes.
Okay.
For,
Or sorry, I'm sorry, one of you.
One of us.
the members. right,
Correct.
one of the
Okay,
city
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So in that, if I can continue, I would agree with Alderman Blessam, just because of the time frame. It's going to be a year and that seat is up again. I would ask for the council members to really think about what Mike said about the leadership, because we really do need that right now. And I think we need to look at the best of us 6 that could perform that at this particular time. Thank you.
Further discussion? Alderman Olson.
Yeah, thank you, Alderman Chancellor. I would be in agreement with both Alderman Blessam and Alderman Samuelson that the continuity is very important. We are going into a budget cycle that, we've had the information related to that and understand the upcoming processes that need to go through. And I also agree that staff will be looking to us for leadership. And so when it comes to the point of us being able to vote on that, that will be, I will be a yes vote on it. And I think bringing a new person in gives them that opportunity to kind of get their feet wet and determine if they would want to run for the seat in 2026.
Alderman Pittner.
Thank you, President Janser. I'm not a mathematician, but there's 6 of us. What if there's a tie and the council can't find a resolution on who to place in that seat?
Well, it's good there are 6 right now without that mayoral seat. Well, I guess we can see what happens.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Mr. President, one additional thing, if I could.
Yes.
One thing I want to be clear to the public, while I believe this is the right path, which is why I brought the motion, there is provision in law, if the public does decide that a special election is warranted, that is a path that is available to the people. One of the things that I was frustrated with throughout the process over the last week or so, really, when we knew that this discussion was coming, not necessarily this portion of it, but was that the people didn't have any recourse with where we were sitting in the election cycle. And I want to make sure that the public understands that while I do believe this is the right path forward, that option is available to the public to bring a petition. And so that is up to the people to do so if they choose.
Well stated, Alderman Blessing.
Mr. Janser, or President Janser. Sorry.
Alderman Fuller.
Thank you. Katie, real quick, if the community does want us to do a special election, what's the time frame or timetable for something like that, just so we're all aware and the community's aware?
Right, I mean, we'd have to have the petition in, and then it's so many days, you gotta count it. It's gonna be pushed out a little bit. You have to set it at least, I think it's 65 days at least out for the special election, because any of the people who wanna run have to declare their nominating papers at least 64 days before that. So it's gonna be at least a couple of months.
I think one question that people may have had is whether something could be done in the special election that's already scheduled, and it sounds like that is not feasible, so we should be clear about that as well.
Yeah, you have to make sure the days are accurate.
Yeah, the June election would not provide for that, so, okay, all right. Any further comments or discussion? Okay, I believe we have a motion by Alderman Blessam, seconded by Alderman Pittner. Let's vote. Call the roll, please.
Blessam.
Yes.
Fuller.
Yes.
Janser.
Yes.
Olson. Pittner.
Yes.
Samuelson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, anything else with respect to future steps or anything that we need to discuss? Oh, Alderman Pittner.
Vacated committee responsibilities. I know the mayor was on a alcohol ordinance review committee that is convening, I believe, next week, or in 2 weeks' time.
14th.
Is that something we can put on to Monday's agenda to have those appointments? Would that be handled by the acting mayor?
I did have a conversation with the city manager late this afternoon and requested that he and I have a meeting this Friday when he gets back to look at what's on deck and what needs to be covered. And my intention would be to try to take care of as many of those things as possible in the role of acting mayor and make sure that things don't fall through the cracks. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yep.
If further discussion needs to be held on that, we we perhaps can talk about that on Monday.
Alderman Janser.
Alderman
I
Olson.
do have one further question perhaps for you or for Attorney Schmidt. Knowing that you now are the acting mayor and you were council president, to have a continuance of governance, will I, as council vice president, move up into an interim council president position?
Yeah, for the next, couple of weeks before the mayor situation is figured out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Discussion? Seeing none, that brings us to item number 4, adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.